Welcome back to Squawk Box. Walmart dramatically stepping back from ammunition sales. Yesterday, I was alerted to this in a surprise email midday yesterday from CEO Doug McMillon, who I had written an open letter to just about a month ago. The largest retailer in America will now discontinue all sales of ammunition for short barrel rifles and handguns. Walmart is eliminating handguns from stores in Alaska, the only remaining state that still carries them in their stores. And the retailer also asking customers to no longer openly carry firearms in stores where open carry is legal. The move coming 5 years into Doug McMillon's tenure as CEO. Till yesterday, he had been reluctant to speak publicly against gun violence, fearing a political and customer backlash. Now, of course, he has entered that debate. In a memo to employees on Tuesday, he called the status quo, quote, unacceptable. He said Walmart believes the reauthorization of the assault weapons ban should be debated in Washington to determine its effectiveness. And he also encouraged lawmakers in Washington to strengthen background checks as well as fund research into gun violence, something that the government has effectively been prohibited from doing. This could prove to be a watershed moment, in large part, I would argue, because McMillon's actions could give license to now other business leaders to enter that conversation who've thus far been unwilling or unable. Kroger, the largest U.S. Supermarket chain, followed Walmart's move in asking customers to stop openly carrying guns in stores. So a big move yesterday in the business community, and I think you're going to see more of this with the Senate back. I don't know if you guys saw the Washington Post out today with a full-page editorial saying, "Do something, Mr. McConnell." So a lot of this is about what what business can do, but the separate element of this is what, of course, lawmakers will do, and the role that business is now going to play in advocating for certain laws. And I think that's actually another sort of dimension of this. But I know we're going to have a larger debate about this in the 7 o'clock hour.
Obviously, McConnell is waiting for Trump, and Trump is trying to figure out what he wants to do in terms of
business,
sending mixed signals.
Is not waiting. I mean, I think
business isn't waiting, but you need to change. You know, the business can bring pressure to change laws eventually, and you've seen how usually you need a grassroots change in public sentiment to elect the people that will enact the laws that you want. And, you know, I harken back, you know, President Obama had the House and the Senate, and he had the pen ready to go for 2 full years, and nothing happened. Now, a lot has happened since then, obviously. For Walmart, given what happened twice at its stores, this is not a big surprise, probably. He feels responsible to his employees and customers and everybody else, and he's human. He's a good guy. Exactly. But we've already, you know, we know right. we know what we want to do, and if we can be on the same side of something, then we can do it. We want the Phil Murphy 10-round maximum magazines, but they don't.
I'll tell you the other things that I think are important about this that are not being talked enough about. So one of the things they probably have the best practices in terms of gun sales in America right now. Walmart, this is in terms of how they do the background checks, what their approach is. By the way, their approach goes far beyond what the law actually what the law is. There's a 21-year-old age. They actually film every single sale on camera so that they have it. They have a computer system that's actually very sophisticated that goes through different state and
so I guess the bad news
laws.
is gun sales will now be less rigorously
and what they're going to do, though.
If they lose.
And what they're going to do.
Their market share of ammunition is 20%.
Right.
It's expected to drop to 8 to 9%.
And it's going to put a lot of pressure on the gun makers and give them a lot of leverage over the gun makers. But the other issue about this is they're going to provide that service for free to other retailers across the country. So in terms of stepping up this sort of best practices approach, I think that actually could be remarkable. The other thing is he's highlighting the issue of ammunition, which is something that actually doesn't get talked enough about, frankly, in the larger gun debate.
It's all nuanced, Andrew, and I know you don't like to hear it, but and I will concede that if even one round that was purchased at Walmart is used in a mass shooting, that maybe you can help in that regard. But if you were to actually look at the percentage of ammunition that was sold at Walmart that was subsequently used in a mass shooting or used in a crime, you know it would be a number that is,
it's going to be small.
It's a tenth of, and so if you're okay saying, all right, you other 99.9%, your rights, you're not allowed, you can't come in here and buy anymore because the 0.0001%. If you're fine, we have a guy coming on later, Bill Cohn, who says nobody deserves to own these types of guns, and I'm saying you can't own them. So if that's okay with you,
look, no, I think the larger point is the business has decided, for better or worse.
Right. Well, there's going to be some pushback.
Hold on, and you can push back, but I think
not from me, but from certain people. Some of the guys in the middle of the country are going to be mad.
Business has, and you know what? People were mad at Dick's when they made their decision.
That was a while. I think they made it twice so he could be on the morning shows.
I think that's unfair. That's unfair to Ed Stack, who I think actually has tried to actually play a meaningful role in this discussion. But the only point that I'm trying to make in this is there are. I think you can look at the law as it stands today, and it's very hard, I think, for anyone with any semblance of common sense to say it's working. Because if it was working, we wouldn't be having the conversations
obviously, the law did not work on the most recent shooting in Texas because the guy was not allowed to own any guns.
The deaths that we've seen, something is not working, and so and lawmakers thus far have been unwilling to take a step. There has been, if you understand the money, how money flows, the NRA has been much better funded, and there's been nobody with real funds on the other side. I'm just suggesting to you that I think business is looking at this in the same way they've looked at immigration and so many other issues, important issues in this country, and are now saying, enough, we're going to try to get involved in this.
Certain businesses. We'll see, but if you want to do it, you need change the laws. That's what you need to do, and go at grassroots. You could essentially get rid of the Second Amendment down the road if you wanted to. If you could get 2/3 of the states, and if enough people.
That has never been my suggestion.
I'm not saying it is, but that is the way we do things here. We do pass laws.
You know what? There was a time when slavery was legal.
I understand that, and we fought a war.
More common sense decided that
and we
it wasn't.
fought a war, but we do legislate. We don't. The elitists from Yale. But the elitists from Yale and from Vanity Fair do not decide who wins the culture wars. That's not the way we do it here.
I don't think this is about culture anymore. This is about people's lives. This is not a culture war.
But what about pro-life? That's about people's lives, and I can tell you.
We can have that discussion. That's a completely different discussion.
Well, I'm sure that you have an answer for who's right in that too. I know Jeff Sonnenfeld probably does, and I'm just saying you're not in a position to make the decisions for the rest. What really amazed me about Walmart was that think about where we live here. No longer you're going to be allowed to carry a gun around in a Walmart. I mean, the concept of seeing someone in the Walmart as you're going down the aisles with
it's created panics.
Well, I'm sure it has.
It's a real problem.
Well, it's just amazing that we even read that but that just shows you how different certain parts of the country are versus back here, where people are walking through there with a holster, and it's pretty staggering when you read. Okay, no. I didn't know you could walk around with one anyway in a Walmart. So saying that you no longer can come in here carrying a gun is...
There's a lot of... By the way, this happened at Starbucks. It's happened at McDonald's. This is a big issue across the country.